You know what I was thinking, guys? I believe by now we all understand, we all know how bad British light tanks are. We have seen those stats on paper, we have compared those stats to the same tier light tanks, and yeah, they do not really compare at anything. But I wanted to show you some more things. I wanted to get my hands on, I want to demonstrate to you how bad those tanks actually are. So I decided to create some in-game situations, some real in-game situations where British light tanks are usually sitting in the bush, because in Wargaming's mind this is the best playstyle for those tanks. They do not have the best mobility, they do not have any DPM, let's simply put it like that. So sitting in the bush with their camo values and view range should be the best playstyle for British light tanks. Which once again I do not get, because this is not how nowadays World of Tanks works anymore. They should know it. Now I am going to show you every single tier one by one. Just watch this episode to the end actually, because it gets so funny and ridiculous towards the end. In tier 10 I am going to demonstrate to you exactly how much this camo and view range difference means in World of Tanks. So I actually decided to start with Setter versus T50-2. By the way, T50-2 is one tier lower light tank, which has 400 better DPM, which has better mobility, which has, listen guys, exactly the same view range, yes. And camo is only 2% better on Setter. It is minor, it doesn't make any difference in actual reality, in real gameplay situations. So how I decided to create this in-game situation is on Malinovka. Usually north base light tanks like to sit in that bush where you see that Setter being, and let's say we have one aggressive scout, the T50-2, who is charging in. Let's see how British light tanks are able to hold against the same tier light tanks or one tier lower light tank when it actually charged towards you. And now when we're talking about equipment units, crew skills, British light tanks win in this category, because what I am using on my T50-2 for example is food, yes. But one thing you have to know is the other guy who is playing with British light tanks is actually a good player, so you cannot blame the skill. And this guy is using every single crew skill activated, and when I say every single crew skill, yes, I mean every single crew skill available on those tanks, because this is a community contributors account which has everything unlocked. All the boosters, equipment units, and food as well, so those British light tanks on the other side are as good as they can be. As good as almost none of us are able to get them, with every single crew skill unlocked. And in this previous battle I just lost it, yes, but as you were able to see, I was simply fooling around. I wanted to see if T50-2 is able to win, while it is also fooling around with one tier higher light tank. Now I was using auto aim almost all the time. The other guy was using some auto aim as well, but after he saw, okay, this tank is complete shit using auto aim, firing on the move, because moving accuracy is actually quite bad on British light tanks, so he decided to do some precise aiming to connect more shots, and it actually worked out. So overall I would say we played, I don't know, 5 times, or we tested this situation 5 times, and let's say T50-2 one tier lower light tank is going to win 50% of those 1 versus 1 fights, simply because it doesn't have so much HP. But once again, as I said, only 2% weaker camo and same view range, which doesn't make sense. Worse mobility, worse DPM. But in 1 versus 1 DPM fight, because it has some more HP and a bigger alpha damage, it still wins it just by a hair though. But this is a situation which almost never happens. While cruising around, while firing on the move, while it has to fire on the move, it is going to lose 50% of the battles versus one tier lower tank. But what about same tier light tank D71DA for example? DPM, yes, a lot worse. Mobility, I would say, is kinda equal actually. Better power to weight ratio on setter, but top speed is not as good. 3% better camo, but 20 meters less view range. And his tank, setter, shoot 2, all the scouting, all the spotting. Okay. This battle, just standing still. As you can see, setter is still missing because accuracy while firing on the move is not the best. Shells are simply flying all over my vehicle, all over my D71DA, and I'm actually reloading at the moment. So once again, fooling around. And guess what, guys? My ammo rack is also going to be hit. Ammo rack, broken gun, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once again, fooling around a bit. Oh boy. What actually happens if D71 decides to play it seriously? The only way how setter is going to win this fight, well, you are going to see it right now. So once again, this same situation, Da decided to be aggressive in the in-game situation. As soon as setter got spotted, he's running away, of course, running towards its teammates. Hopefully teammates are able to kill Da before it actually gets center. That shot was a miss, and this one was a bounce actually. So now we are on a reload. Setter knows exactly that this guy is out of shells. Now let's try to kill it, and this is actually the only way how setter is able to take out Da. He has to set it on fire and ammo rack as well with the next shot. And boom, Da has been destroyed. But in many times, it can simply fool around, it can follow it as long as it wants, even while it is reloading, and it can take it out without any problems whatsoever. Passive scouting with 20 meters less view range, good design, good tank design wargaming. Da has 390 meter view range, setter 370, and only 3% better camo. Oof. Well, we tried to make this situation a bit more equal. While I was done reloading, I'm not even going to fire because you can see how much HP I had left. So let's simply wait and maybe let's do some shooting as well. Boom! Destroyed. Setter has been destroyed. But now let's move up into tier 8. On the other side we have tier 8 British light tank LH-MTV versus LT-432. Why? Because they are both tier 8 light tanks, they have the same matchmaking. Okay, let's compare those two. Oh boy, and let me tell you, me and my friend, we were laughing. We were literally laughing our asses off. I do not remember when I previously laughed so much in World of Tanks, playing World of Tanks. It was simply ridiculous. This guy is, by the way, trying to fire on the move, doing some precise aiming, some auto-aiming, like whatever works. And you can see I am not even firing because this is just ridiculous. How can LH-MTV be in the same... How can LH-MTV be in the same matchmaking, in the same tier with LT-432? My buddy even said that LT-432 feels like a freaking medium tank, one tier higher medium tank versus LH-MTV. Once again, I am simply fooling around because LH-MTV is nothing, absolutely nothing, no comparison versus LT-432. No competition whatsoever. Of course, LT-432 is the best tier 8 light tank, we all know that, but I am comparing it because they have exactly the same matchmaking, they are from the same tier. Those tanks are both tier 8 light tanks. But this, LH-MTV is not the most aggressive scout, it is not meant to deal damage. Well, what the fuck is it doing in the game then? It is the best passive scout. Well, let me laugh. Because let's compare some stats. DPM 700, over 700 better on LT-432. Better armoring on LT-432. Better mobility on LT-432. Exactly the same view range on both tanks and under 1% better camo on LH-MTV. Both tier 8 tanks. hooray. Now moving up into tier 9 where we have D49, and now you can really feel that DPM difference. By the way, both tanks, they have exactly the same alpha damage, 240 alpha damage, but D49 fires almost twice as fast. Almost 1000 better DPM on D49 than on GSOR. And if you say GSOR is a lot better at spotting stuff, a lot better at passive scouting, well, do you know the fact that the D49 has 20 meters better view range? 390 on GSOR and 410 on D49. Okay, camo is a lot better on GSOR, but how often does it matter? Not so often. Like, if both tanks are sitting in the bush, camo really doesn't matter. You get only spotted if you take the shot, you get only spotted if something drives near enough and proxies you. Camo doesn't matter so much in those situations, view range matters more, if you want to spot stuff. And just for the lols, let me just show you the DPM fight as well. Well, there is nothing to show actually, D49 is simply going to crush GSOR, even with broken ammo rack, as funny as it sounds. But it is time to move up into tier 10, so Manticore compared to the T100LT and EBR as well, a tier 10 wheeled vehicle which should not be able to win any 1 versus 1 fights versus same tier light tanks. But this is not the case over here. Now talking about the camo, Manticore has not the best camo, only 0.68% better than on T100LT, and EBR has even better than on Manticore, but it has the best view range. As I said, later I am actually going to demonstrate you how much it doesn't matter when both vehicles are fully pimped, when Manticore is actually even more pimped than EBR. So first situation, I decided to load in HE, jumping into the action because this is what EBR players, wheeled vehicle players are usually doing. So Manticore was actually able to connect its first shot into me while I was moving. So let's try to ram it. Oh yes, I was able to do it, some ramming damage. Why is this tank in the game in the same matchmaking with EBR and T100LT? Using different angles, you are actually able to outspot Manticore as well. While I am behind the bush, you can see, boom, there it is. I actually spotted Manticore first, so a little surprise effect. Once again, one shot and Manticore is trying to run away, as it is trying to do in the real battle as well. So one shot and let's run. Ramming it was not the best idea, as you can see. I destroyed my wheels, and with that shot my wheels got destroyed once more. This time I'm actually using APCR rounds, not HE rounds, but you should always use HE rounds. I simply wanted to fight this battle with APCR rounds. And now the mind games begin with my buddy, who is trying to hide as well, trying to get an advantage over me, but it didn't happen because my mobility is just so much better. My everything is so much better than on the Manticore, and this guy is not able to find shots, limiting gun handling, bad moving accuracy, has a toll on it, and I was still able to win this fight. Dirty. I need a wash. And the same story with T100LT. This time I actually didn't even bother going down here trying to be sneaky. I simply went into the action, received first shot, 383 damage done. This guy is trying to play around his teammates, like in regular battles, trying to circle, make it hard for me to hit him, but the 100LT can do all that and even more. My DPM is just so much better, no competition over here. Yes, my alpha damage is lower, a lot lower, but my reload time is almost twice as fast, and a little ramming kill. So we just gave it a one go because there is nothing to prove. Now let me actually show you how much that camo difference and view range difference means. First up we have D100LT. So what we were doing on the other side, we have one fully pimped Manticore, as good Manticore as almost none of us are going to get, because Commander has every single skill unlocked, which literally takes over 100 million experience at least. With the food, ventilation, Brothers in Arms, coated optics as well activated, with a view range of 507 meters. So I am moving slowly with my D100LT. I am waiting for my friend's mark when he said, "Now you are spotted." So I move back by 1 meter because my reaction time and so on. And he said, "Manticore spotted LT100 from 344 meters away." By the way, LT100 has 35.46% camo and 483 meter view range. Manticore at the same time has 43.02% camo and 507 meter view range. Anyway, so Manticore spotted LT100 from 344 meters away. Now I am trying to see when I spot that Manticore with my 483 meter view range versus 43.02% camo. And let's see the difference. And it is worth mentioning that my D100LT's Commander's camo skill is at 80%, not 100%. All the other guys have it 100% at 100%. But once again, we are trying to compare Manticore, or we are trying to compare those tanks to the as beast of a Manticore as possible. And I was able to spot Manticore from 296 meters away. So the difference is 48 meters. Manticore, fully pimped Manticore, is able to spot D100LT 48 meters before D100 is able to spot Manticore. So now the main question is it a fair price to pay? You lose on DPM, you lose on mobility, you lose on armoring, you lose on everything else besides some faster spotting on open map situations, which actually doesn't really matter because situations like this are really rare. While two light tanks are driving out in the open, then yes, Manticore is able to outspot T100LT, but if this tank was made for passive scouting, which means it has to sit in the bush, this testing really doesn't matter. Because if one of those tanks are sitting in the bush or is sitting in the bush tank is always going to outspot the tank who is driving on open field. It is as easy as it sounds. But anyway, let's do the same testing with EBR as well. And the results are actually kinda surprising. So once again, Manticore has 43.02% camo and 507 meter view range. I got spotted already, and my friend said he was able to spot me from 304 meters away. Now EBR's camo is a bit better, 43.93. Almost 1% better than on Manticore. But view range at the same time is only 445. Now the difference, the spotting difference is actually going to surprise you, or at least it did surprise me, because Wargaming is always saying that light tanks are able to outspot wheeled vehicles. Yes, they are in this case as well. As you see, Manticore, fully pimped Manticore, was able to outperform EBR 105. But EBR spotted Manticore back from 274 meters away, which makes the difference only 30 meters, ladies and gentlemen. So despite having really bad view range on EBR for a tier 10 vehicle, boosted to the max, almost to the max, 445 meters, but having really good camo, close to 44%, the best camo in tier 10, only tier 10 light tanks, makes huge difference, only 30 meter difference. At the same time, LT100 had 50 meter difference with EBR. So EBR is simply the best at everything, almost everything. Dealing damage, spotting, active scouting, passive scouting as well when needed. If 50 meters is not a fair price to pay, then 30 meters is not even close being a fair price. So, tier wargaming, passive scouting is not as big of a thing as you might think. If you actually play your game, then you would know it. jump into the battle, play with some light tanks, you see that the matchmaking is actually filled with other light tanks as well on the enemy side in your team, and you have to fight with both of them. You have to fight with your own light tanks to do some spotting, because those tanks are not the best at anything, and you have to fight with enemy light tanks because those tanks can actually fire and deal damage. So, ladies and gents, this was my today's episode. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the most perfect testing, of course, but it gives you an idea, and for me at least, it proves my point. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, helpful, maybe even a bit entertaining. You tell me in the comment section, or hitting that like or dislike button. Stay awesome, take care, stay tuned for more action, and bye.